Hey, what's up guys? Missy here back again with another video, and today I am bringing you another Rampart guide, this time being the mistakes that you're probably making right now with Rampart. Now, everyone thinks that Rampart sucks, everyone sees a Rampart, they underestimate them, and it's because we are making these mistakes, and I want to share them with you so that you can get better and we can reverse that stereotype. So before we get into it, please leave a like, pop a sub, comment down below some of the mistakes that you think other Ramparts make, and let's get right into it. All right, on to the first tip that I've seen a lot of other Ramparts forget to do, and sometimes I forget to do as well. So say you have these set up, you've been fighting, you're going around, using them as points of interest to move between. You defeat this enemy right here, and then your team kind of pushes up, but you don't push far away. You're sitting here, and you're kind of using this as a fallback route that you can use just in case you get third or fourth partied. Now, the problem is, if you do have to fall back, another team can come in from that direction, say, and they'll come and use your own shields against you. And I do this all the time with other Ramparts that I encounter. They forget to break down the walls, and I just use their walls, and it's super useful. And this can definitely bite you in the ass, so make sure that you're in a good habit of breaking down your walls when you leave an area, especially if you plan on using that area to fall back. So keep that in mind. All right, here's the second mistake I see a lot of Ramparts doing, and I'm guilty of this even to this day, but I mentioned it briefly in my settings guide. All of those guides will be linked in the description down below, by the way. So we're going to go over here. We're going to go to button layout. We're going to go to customized, and you guys need to change these two things. So have your auto sprint on, that's number one, and then switch your extra character action to L. And the key with this is that you can click the left stick to break down your walls, which is a lot more effective than what it was previously, which is down on the D-pad. Now, I didn't do this until way later on, and I'm just way more used to the D-pad, and I make way too many mistakes when I switch it. So if you guys are early on in your Rampart main ways, definitely switch these, get used to this, and it will even be useful for other characters in this game. All right, on to the third mistake that I see Ramparts making, and this is probably the most common one I see when I'm facing other Ramparts, and that is using your ult up close like this, mid-gunfight. This will almost always get you killed. Now, there are certain situations that experienced Rampart mains can still pull this out and still use it correctly, but overall, do not use Ramparts ultimate up close like this. It is not the most effective. You can still beam people like this, but overall you want to keep your movement up and you want to use it from a farther away range. And you guys would know that if you checked out my other guides. Yet again, go check them out in the description. On to the third mistake that I'm seeing Ramparts making, or at least seeing myself make, and I do this way too often, especially when I'm kind of in the groove and I'm really thinking about what I'm doing in the game. This is often missed. Now, when you are done with fights and you know that there's no third party imminent or a team imminent, always put your ult on cooldown. There is so many times when I've only used it a little bit and the cooldown would take no time whatsoever and I might as well put it away. Or if there's just a little bit left and I thought it was on cooldown, always check to make sure your ult is on cooldown as you're rotating or when there's no action happening. You will thank me later because Rampart's ultimate is what makes her so good and you want to have it as much as possible. Now, this fifth tip is going to seem super simple, but this is something that I feel like everyone can benefit from no matter what legend you're playing, but especially Rampart. Now, Rampart obviously cannot utilize zero movement unless you guys go check out my Rampart movement guide. I'm not going to spoil that here, so go check that out. She does have some movement afforded to her and only her, but it's very minimal. So you need to reposition very often. And this is another thing that takes constant practice, constant reminding, and I don't do it even to this day. You need to get in the habit of repositioning. So say this guy's dead and you just wrapped up a fight, you want to loot as quickly as possible and reposition away from the fight. Reposition, get high ground preferably, get up on height, give yourself as much of an advantage as possible. Always be repositioning, because if you get caught in the wrong position, Rampart's walls can only help you so far, and you will be screwed and get caught with your pants on the ground. So always reposition at every available moment. All right, on to the 6th mistake that Ramparts are making because they didn't watch my previous guides. You guys are going to hear me plug those over and over again, and for good reason. Is because I think that most Ramparts that I see, especially the ones that are just picking her up, are always using her walls or her ultimate mid-fight. So they're already in a gunfight, or they're already been seen by the other team, and the other team already has them in their iron sights, and then the Ramparts are trying to put down their walls as they're getting shot at, or they're trying to pull out their ultimate when they're already in a gunfight. That is not how you want to use Rampart. You want to be preemptive, and that comes down to learning the situations where you know that they're going to become useful in the near future. So say that enemy's not even there, you want to kind of set up walls in certain advantageous areas that you think a fight is about to go down. That way you can just focus on the gunfight and not focus down on putting down walls that are just going to get shot out by the enemy because they see you doing it. Same with the ultimate. You want to be using the ultimate, you want to spin it up before they come around the corner, so you're already ready to beam and get them down. You want to use the ultimate and walls preemptively. Stop using them in the moment and use them preemptively, and you guys will fix that mistake. Now on to the 7th, last but not least mistake that I am seeing Ramparts make, and we're ending it on a lucky number on purpose so that you guys can be lucky in not making these mistakes in the future, is don't be afraid to play to Rampart strengths and play indoors. Lock up the doors, lock up certain areas or certain corners, and play defensively, especially when there's multiple parties coming in on you. I know that most Ramparts have that stereotype that we're just kind of in a corner like this and we just camp, but sometimes that is advantageous, especially in ranked, and that's where Rampart thrives. So do not be afraid to play to Rampart strengths. Play to Rampart strengths, but also don't make that your only play style. Play more indoors. Utilize those strong points of Rampart's kit, and you and your teammates will benefit. Alright guys, those were 7 mistakes that I think most Ramparts are making even till this day. Make sure you check out all of the guides that I've mentioned and briefly mentioned, because there's way more tips that I didn't mention in this video. And also, don't forget to leave a like, pop a sub, and comment down below some of the mistakes that you think Ramparts are making. I'm curious to see them. Let's get a discussion going, help each other out, all of that jazz. Thank you so much for watching this guide, and take it easy.